This is by far the most valuable thing I've ever spent my money on. And I mean that when I say that. I went through all different kinds of doctors, different kinds of therapists previously. And when I met Daniel, even though I was technically eating disorder recovered, I still had a lot of past trauma to uncover and a lot of self-hatred and just I just can't say enough how valuable everything that you've taught me really is. Just thank you again so much for opening up your vulnerability and showing that you really care, and you know, it's just obvious why this is so helpful, because you genuinely put your heart and soul into what you do.
What you do works. It really works. And people need to feel it to believe it. It's so hard to explain, but I think even, you know, if you came and do just one session and see what it feels like to start being offloaded with things that you've carried around for so long, it becomes a massive burden. And then you let things go and it's just like, it's like a whole other level of happy. Every time it's just like a whole other level of happy. Things that are limiting you in your life.
I was diagnosed with Crohn's disease about 2.5 years ago, but I always knew I had stomach issues, indigestion, irritable bowel syndrome, and it happened to me for years. And I got onto the track of seeing naturopathic doctors upon naturopathic doctors, spending thousands of dollars in supplements and everything. One thing that I realized with you, Daniel, is compared to other people that you see and you're just doing talk therapy, just consciously speaking about your problems, you actually deal with the unconscious mind. And with the unconscious mind, it's problems that you're not even aware of that you have. But then you look back so many months later and you see, wow, I'm feeling less heavy. Everything just seems lighter and everything just kind of makes sense and your mind's clear. Once you address those issues, it was just amazing how the dis-ease and the Crohn's would melt away, and this tension that I always had in my stomach, even of the irritable bowel syndrome that I thought like my entire life, now that's just gone. It just disappeared. It just melted away. And now what's amazing is there was so much inflammation in my small intestine going to the terminus ileum. But now they did a colonoscopy again for me, and all that inflammation just gone. It's not just in my head, but I can actually see the results now. So
1000%. Like you've gave me tools today that I can take home and that I can use for me. It's so simple, it's so straightforward, and it's so clear. That's the best thing about today for me. It's been so clear that I've got the information that you've taught me. I'm going to coach myself in those situations that I was struggling when I first walked in.
I wasn't even getting out of the door of my own house without my sister around. Where I am now is looking at going back to work again. Yeah, within 5 sessions, yeah. It's pretty amazing. Just what you do and how you do it.
Because you sort of show me ways that I can deal with it. I suppose everybody's different, I'm guessing, and you've looked and talked and examined lots about me and things around me, some of it without my knowing, I think. Like you mentioned my daughter, son, ex-wife. Yeah. Just from what I've said, you've sort of explored and said, well, hang on, that's not you, that's not your fault, this is because, and you've found reasons why people react and why things are happening. So in some ways I understand that I'll be forgiven, but I can also forgive what's happening to me.
Whereas tapping and doing is it's a physical thing that I think really helps. So the Enneagram was quite specific and it was a lot more enlightening about your personality.
I enjoyed listening to the return of Paul McKenna a couple of weeks ago. I wonder if you've ever tried working out what your Enneagram personality was. I was introduced to it by my therapist, Daniel Hill. He's a brilliant therapist and hypnotherapist and Smith's fan. The Enneagram is based on 9 personalities that have been around for thousands of years.
Honestly, I feel a whole lot better. I feel like, my gut reaction's starting to come more. I feel more grounded and more power coming up. Now I feel like more of a greater awareness, more of a groundedness, you can say,
And it was all time to sort of really stop and open a new door, step through it and go into the next abyss. But I was so scared, and that's where you helped me to cross over, to make me realise that you're just ploughing on
and you're getting yourself in, or I was getting myself into a right hole and vortex that I couldn't get out of. I've gone and I've got new jobs, I've got new friends, I've got new interests. My world's just opened up. When you actually take it to your level and having a master that can direct you into that space where you need to be, and that's where you come in, Daniel, and that really has helped me so much, and I'm sure you've helped other people. Well, I know you've helped other people as well, and I know to what extent, so yeah.
Amazing. There's been such a transformation. I'm a lot more confident now. My mind's become a lot more quieter. I'm starting to listen to myself a lot more and trust my intuition.
It completely changed me and my life for much better. The life is wonderful now, so yes, thank you for your help.
Thank you. It was fairly chilled, just felt very, very relaxed after. Just doesn't do it anymore. Before it would bubble up, so I'd be talking about it matter-of-factly and you could just feel it bubbling up in the background and just an emotional component, but now I want to talk about it, let's talk about it. It's not a problem, there's no great emotional feelings to it. I'm sure it will even go lower over time, but it feels nice, it feels chilled, it feels where it should have been originally. It's letting go of something which has been, maybe not in the front of my mind at times, but in those deepest, darkest moments when you're a bit vulnerable, it's kind of come out and got you. And kind of just snapped up and said, right, I'm taking you with me.
Yeah, I didn't know anything about it coming into this. It was quite eye-opening, more than I expected, because I've studied a lot of different types and understanding personality types, and this was quite eye-opening and quite deep. It was almost, especially when I read some of the books and some of the stuff that I'd watched, it was like they knew my life. It's extremely accurate. It kind of helped me to understand where I was and where to move to, help to kind of step back and see it from that perspective. Even though I'm in that perspective, to understand it a little bit better and kind of be able to move forward in a lot of things that I didn't realize before.
Pretty successful. I only had one session, but that enabled me to get the suitcases out of the loft, not panic about it, pack them, enjoy the process of packing, enjoy the lead up to the holiday. No problems on the plane whatsoever, 11-hour flight, and I just managed to relax, see it all very mundane, and just enjoyed the time, to be honest. I didn't worry about the flight back, which I normally would do. Got on the flight home, again, absolutely no problems, so really, really pleased.
Well, the EFT actually definitely sort of made me feel more relaxed. Learning about my personality is going to help me to continue to evolve.
Anyone who is struggling with any kind of issue, fear, anything, doesn't matter how big or small, I'd honestly recommend that they have a chat with you. It could be the difference between carrying on suffering and once and for all being able to get on with their lives. 10 sessions, I know, and I've had years of therapy and counselling.
Yeah, the first thing that was really cool was being introduced to the Enneagram. I had seen that before in bookstores, but didn't really pay any attention. Then this one really jumped out at me. And the Enneagram I find so helpful because, like we discussed earlier, where you're sitting there wondering about yourself all the time, or why you do certain things, and why do I feel this way? All of a sudden, it's like a roadmap, and it just takes the feeling, the way it changed the way I feel on a day-to-day basis was profound, really nice. Well, thank you, Daniel.
I feel like I need to say the first time I came here was for fear around going to the hospitals with the blood pressure, and that just hasn't come back. So that one is definitely well and truly put to bed.
I remember during the first session, like it was sort of like halfway through, and then I started seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. Didn't think it would be possible, but obviously, I mean, this dude is a great dude right here. I mean, what he does is fantastic, and I suggest anyone, any type of anxieties.
I really appreciate you helping me, your guidance, and your positivity, your enthusiasm, and just your general help.
It's great. It's like a release. I'd say it's very nourishing. I feel nourished. I feel like I've come home. I feel like, phew, it's okay, that's great. I'm not mad. This is just me. It's like, I'm not mad. And, you know, I've spoken to some of my friends and they said, yeah, we all knew that. Yeah, but I didn't.
He had cognitive therapy through the NHS, which didn't work at all for him. And this is the only thing that has worked.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, it's fantastic. It's a brilliant treatment, and, you know, I wish everybody that suffered with anxiety could get it.
I was terrified to go and see him because I've been seeing people since I was 6 about depression and like mental shit. Basically, I had to go see Dan, and he got me doing this thing called tapping. I remember sitting in this room like, I'm not doing this, nah. I am not tapping myself in random places. No. But I did it, and it actually helps. It's called EFT. And when I went home, I didn't contact my ex at all. Even when he messaged me, I was just saying like, no, I don't need this. No, I'm not allowed to talk to you. I don't want to talk to you. Which I found really weird, because before that I was like, oh my god, I need to talk to him, I need to talk to him, I need to talk to him, I need to talk to him. But then after a few sessions, I completely got rid of him. Like, mentally, I'd stopped caring about him in that way, and I just let go. And also, I went to see him because I was terrified of walking in the street. After 2 sessions with him, I was walking in the street fine. I feel like he's a magic man.
I feel I've got my life back on track. I feel exceptionally energised. I feel happier within. It's transformational. The difference is transformational. My awareness is open, and I understand why I was where I was.
I was so scared. I kept thinking a caesarean would be better. At least that way you know when it's happening. They give you a local, it's not as painful, and then they just get the baby out. I was that scared. Whereas now, as I think about it, I'm excited. I can't wait to go into labour.
So we
And that was
anchored.
one session. That was just one session. Jeez. I'm looking forward to it, and I couldn't say that before. I really couldn't. I'd freeze up at the thought of it. I'd start crying. It was just completely irrational, but now it's... Bring it on. I'm really looking forward to it.
Okay, cool.
Wow.
I've had a long interest and participation in all aspects of motorsport. So driving was something that I loved doing. Everything was great. Ended up at some services down in Exeter and had to get brought home. And what it was, I'd got a real bad chest infection, and it had basically just triggered my anxiety. The first time I went back to work, it was the equivalent of driving like 1,000 miles to do 27 miles. It was really, really bizarre. So obviously, you know, from the journey that Chris had been on and the benefits he'd seen, you know, I came and sat down with you and started, you know, doing tapping and EFT, realigning my thought patterns and, you know, how I dealt with things.
Yeah.
And, you know, that's coming up to 3 years ago now, and I'm okay, you know. So, you know, again, another see the benefits of EFT and all the sort of stuff that you've helped us with. Yeah. A lot of people are quite sceptic about, you know, how can it really work? It's just the way that your thought pattern is and getting your mind to think in a positive way. It is really powerful.
You're too cheap. That's all I think. No, it was really lovely, and thank you so much. I do appreciate it.
Fantastic.